You might have heard of the saying, some people are investments and some people are bills. Knowing that difference is a skill which we can develop. Who we choose to spend our time with does have an impact and does influence our health, our wealth, and our motivation. Now, as we grow older, we may realize that not all our relationships are worth maintaining. Each individual has their own growth rate, and depending on their exposure and their experience, they may have a completely different trajectory from another person. If we look at ourselves as individuals, the person that I was 5 years ago or the person that I was 10 years ago are vastly different from the person that I am today. And that's thanks to a wealth of experiences and knowledge that I have gained over the years. And the same applies to our relationships, whether we're talking about our friends or even our partners. So the person that we vibe with in school more often than not is a completely different person, 20 years later, 30 years later. And it's amazing to meet some of these people after a number of years of not seeing them. Some of them have become CEOs of their own companies that have managed to break international and have some really big clients on their list. I also had a college mate who got into Forbes under 30 back in the day. Now on the flip side, I have seen certain individuals who've completely flopped. Some guys I knew from college have become absolutely useless, and they live with their moms and they're not particularly helpful in any way or contribute to the family or want to do anything about their lives. And I've also observed some friends who have not progressed in terms of personal growth, and these guys or girls have professional careers. It's just that they have not developed further in terms of their emotional intelligence, in terms of their personality. So it's kind of boring when you go out and hang out with them and catch up with them. There's nothing really new, and they tend to be on the complaining side, so they haven't really progressed much in terms of self-development. So in this video, we're going to talk about which relationships we should maintain and which relationships we should probably distance ourselves from. Now, the quick answer to this is keep the positive ones and cut out the toxic ones. But let's get into a bit more detail. So my wife works in the field of psychology, and she would say there are two types of relationships. There are low maintenance relationships and there are high maintenance relationships. So the low maintenance relationships are those friends that you can catch up once in a blue moon and you can just pick up wherever you left off. All is well and good, and these are usually relationships that you have spent a good amount of time nourishing over the years. And on the other side of the coin, there are high maintenance relationships, and more often than not, these friends are pretty needy and they require a lot of face time, and they might just get upset if you don't regularly update them. And when we do spend time with them, we normally end up listening to their problems and their complaints about life, so it tends to be a bit more of a therapy session in a way. So as you can probably guess, we tend to steer away from the high maintenance relationships as we don't have the time and energy to be listening to people's complaints day in and day out. Now, it's quite normal for people to vent and complain every once in a while, but if somebody is complaining 80 to 90% of the time, then that's probably a red flag. And sometimes you want to be there for your friend and be a listener, be a shoulder to cry on, and that's okay. But if this person's troubles are originating from childhood trauma or deep-rooted conflicts, then it's probably best for a therapist to be handling this person. Otherwise, they will be sharing a lot of negative energy with us, which may be stressful for some people or demotivating even. So in evaluating relationships or even new connections, there are two things I tend to look out for. Number one, how does being around this person make you feel? Do they bring you joy? Do they bring you calmness? Or do you feel heavy or drained? Number two, what kind of value do these people bring to your life? Are they always having interesting conversations, learning and praising you, motivating you, encouraging you? Or do they tend to put you down or compete with you or use you in some way? Ultimately, the best thing you can do for yourself to improve your health and your motivation is to spend time with people who bring you joy and positivity and help you be productive, and distance yourself where possible from people who are always negative, as this will drag you down. For those positive relationships, always remember to nourish that relationship with a lot of kindness and a lot of love. As the saying goes, a little kindness goes a long way. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you found this video useful. Do share it with a friend, and we'll see you in the next one.